Hi guys, welcome to Making Sawdust. I'm Kevin, and thank you for joining me. Today we are going to give my Milwaukee Super Sawzall a tune-up by replacing the brushes and also repairing the quick lock cord. This is going to apply to many different hand tools, sawzalls, reciprocating saws, anything that has replaceable brushes. Some of my tips are going to apply to you. There are actually three things in this video we're going to cover today. The first two I mentioned, the cord and the brushes, but the third is actually the rubber guard on the front. This tool was long abused before I ever got it, and I noticed there's a bunch of electrical tape wrapped around here. We're going to actually pull this off, investigate. Maybe the boot isn't on here all the way. Maybe there's another issue, and maybe while we're at it, we will lube up the quick lock for the blade clamp and all that. Tools with replaceable brushes are typically going to have two brushes, and they're going to be located on opposing sides of the tool, obviously 180 degrees apart. Mine has plastic little caps, and I just unscrewed, and this brush actually is in pretty nice condition. And then I'm going to just compare it with my new set of brushes, double check. They're a rectangular brush. I've seen some tools have round brushes. I just want to make sure they're the right style. We are good to go. Obviously, this brush is not the problem. And notice the metal cap for the brush is stuck to the plastic cap right there. And I don't think the spring is supposed to look like that. Well, there's your problem. Pretty sure that brushes aren't supposed to be in three pieces. I'm actually wondering why that spring got so mangled there. And the metal cap was actually stuck to the plastic there, so I'm inspecting that, making sure. One of my tips for getting the brushes in there, because they're like springy little noodles, is grab the tip of the chunk. I'm not even sure what they're made out of, with the needle nose pliers. Just try not to distort the spring when you put it back in there. My big sausage fingers, it was kind of hard getting those in. I don't know if there's really an easy way to get this thing split apart without stabbing yourself in the hand on this quick lock. I ended up using a flat screwdriver, and I boogered up one of the things. It still snaps together okay, but be careful when you're taking this apart. What we're really doing now is we're exposing the rubber strain relief, and we want to be able to get that break in the insulation into that strain relief, and we're going to shorten up the wires. So once I can wiggle this through, we'll be at a stage where we can cut the wires and then move the connection back into that rubber strain relief. If your cord is broken already, this may be a little easier task for you. So I'm going to take about an inch out of here, and then I'm going to tin my wires and also solder them together. I'm no expert in soldering, but what I do know is when they don't pull apart, you're probably pretty good. And then individually wrap each wire with electrical tape, and then do a full wrap all the way around that break again. And now we can slide our rubber strain relief back over that, trying not to break our connections. And then we can just put our collar back over there and make sure it spins freely. There's a couple locating pins on this collar, and then once you get it kind of lined up, she will snap together pretty positively. Just like that. Make sure it still spins free, because that's actually how that cord locks into the tool. Last time I used this guy, it was just throwing sparks out the side of it, so I knew something was wrong, and obviously we fixed the problem. We also fixed a problem on our cord, and next up is investigating this rubber boot here. My overall thought is there's nothing wrong with the boot. That gap is actually intended to be there. When I look down inside, I believe it's actually the intake to cool the motor of the Sawzall. So that just totally makes sense. And by removing the tape, we prevented a possible failure. So that's awesome. I wanted to address one thing about the quick lock cord and why my quick lock cord failed and what is the potential. Well, the way you're supposed to do it is this is the way Milwaukee designed it. They designed a quick lock cord for storage to prevent your cord from getting wrapped around the body of the saw and creating an extreme bend, ultimately resulting in a broken cord. Okay, well, that actually happened to this saw. Like I said, it was long abused before I got it, and they never unplugged the quick lock and just wrapped the cord around the body of the saw, creating a break right there at the end of the strain relief. So, mental note for me when I store my saw, pull the cord off. So, I'm glad I got my saw fixed. I need it for a shop furniture project coming up. I have to cut a railroad tie out of my shop, and there is going to be a bench and another large power tool placed there permanently. So you got to stay tuned for that, guys. So thank you for joining me here at Making Sawdust. If you have not yet done so, go ahead and click the subscribe button. If you've stuck around this long, give me a like, leave me a comment, let me know your ideas and if this was helpful for you. And why don't you get out in your shop and make some sawdust?